You are exhausted, not physically. You are exhausted in a way that sleep cannot fix. You are tired of the noise. You are tired of the expectations. You are tired of the constant low-level anxiety that comes from managing the version of you that exists in the minds of other people. You walk into a room and you immediately scan for approval. You post a photo and you wait for the digital nod. You speak and you watch faces to see if you landed the point. You are a slave to the opinions of people you don't even like, a slave to a culture that demands you care about everything all the time forever. But there is a different way to live. There is a state of mind that the French philosopher Michel de Montaigne discovered 400 years ago, a state of mind that the modern world is desperate to hide from you. Because if you found it, you would stop being a consumer, you would stop being a puppet, you would become dangerous. It is the philosophy of who cares, not the apathy of the loser who gives up, but the strategic, cold, terrifying detachment of the ruler who realizes that his attention is a currency and he has been spending it on garbage. I am going to show you how to enter this state. I'm going to show you how to build a fortress in your mind that no insult, no rejection, and no failure can breach. But you have to be willing to let go of the part of you that begs to be understood, because the secret to total power isn't in what you gain. It's in what you stop giving a damn about. Let's perform an autopsy on your daily life. From the moment you wake up, you are hemorrhaging energy. You look at your phone. You care about the news. You care about the email from your boss. You care about the passive-aggressive comment your friend made 3 weeks ago. You care about whether you look successful. You care about whether you look moral. You are bankrupt. The Stoics and later Montaigne understood a fundamental economic truth about the human psyche. You have a limited budget of fuck to give. Every time you react to something, you are paying. You are paying with your focus. You are paying with your peace, and most importantly, you are paying with your sovereignty. Montaigne was a man who had everything. He was a noble. He was a magistrate. He was rich. He was respected, and he was miserable. He realized that his life belonged to everyone else. His time was eaten by court politics. His mind was eaten by social obligations. So on his 38th birthday, he did something radical, something that would be considered insanity today. He quit. He didn't just quit his job. He quit society. He retreated to a tower on his estate, carved a Latin inscription into the beam of the ceiling that essentially said, "I am taking myself back." And he locked the door. He spent the rest of his life writing, thinking, and studying the art of not caring about what didn't matter so he could obsess over what did. He discovered what he called the Arrière-boutique, the backroom of the shop. Imagine your mind is a shop on a busy street. Customers come in, they browse, they ask questions, they make a mess. Most people live in the front of the shop. They are constantly dealing with the customers being the demands of the world. Montaigne said, "You must have a back room behind the shop, a room that is yours alone, a room where no family, no children, no business, and no public opinion can enter. In this room, you are not a father, you are not an employee, you are not a citizen, you are just you." Most of you don't have this room. You have let the world turn your entire mind into a public square. You have let the internet move into your bedroom. You have let the opinions of strangers set up camp in your frontal lobe. This is why you are anxious. Anxiety is simply the result of your backroom being invaded. To reclaim your power, you must evict them. This is not about being a hermit. You still have to live in the world. You still have to pay taxes and smile at your neighbor, but you must mentally construct a wall. When someone insults you, they are talking to the shopkeeper in the front. They are not talking to you in the back room. When you fail a project, the failure happens in the shop. It does not enter the room. This detachment is the foundation. Without it, you are a leaf in the wind. With it, you are the wind. But how do you build this wall? You start by understanding the backwards law. There is a cruel irony in human psychology. The harder you try to make people like you, the less they like you. The more you try to be respected, the less they respect you. The more you desperately want to be happy, the more miserable you become. Alan Watts called this the backwards law. It is the idea that the desire for a positive experience is itself a negative experience. Think about the person in your life who tries too hard, the one who laughs too loud at your jokes, the one who agrees with everything you say, the one who is constantly checking to see if you're having a good time. Do you respect them? No. You pity them. You might even be annoyed by them. Why? Because their neediness is a vacuum. It sucks the energy out of the room. It signals to your primal brain, this person has low status. This person needs my validation to survive. Now think about the person who doesn't care. Not the person who is rude, the person who is simply unbothered. The person who can sit in silence without fidgeting. The person who states their opinion and doesn't look around to see if you agree. The person who can take a joke and laugh or take an insult and ignore it. You are drawn to them. You want their approval. Why? Because they are not asking for yours. Montaigne wrote, "The greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself." When you belong to yourself, you stop leasing your soul to others. And ironically, that is when the world starts to value you. This is the philosophy of who cares applied to social dynamics. It is not "I don't care about you, so I will treat you badly." It is "I don't care what you think of me, so I will treat you with total honesty." And honesty is rare. Honesty is magnetic. When you stop trying to impress, you become impressive. When you stop trying to be interesting, you become interested, and that makes you fascinating. You have to practice the art of the shrug. Your boss criticizes your work unfairly. The old you would defend, explain, stay up all night ruminating. The new you listen, you extract the data. You shrug, you say, "I see your point," and you go back to work. You don't let it into the back room. Someone doesn't text you back. The old you would double text, you would spiral. Did I say something wrong? The new you shrug. You assume they are busy or they are not interested. Either way, it does not change the value of the stock in your back room. This is not arrogance. Arrogance is a mask for insecurity. Arrogance screams, "Look at me. I'm better than you." Indifference whispers, "I don't need to compare myself to you at all." The moment you stop competing for status is the moment you win the game, because everyone else is playing a game of please like me, and you are playing a game of I am already complete. The energy shift is palpable. People feel it. They can smell the desperation on the first type of person, and they can smell the sovereignty on the second. Become the second. Montaigne lived through the French wars of religion. It was a time of chaos, betrayal, and massacres. Neighbors were killing neighbors. He had to navigate court politics where one wrong word could get your head cut off. He didn't survive by being authentic in the way modern people use the word. He didn't spill his guts to everyone. He didn't live his truth out loud to his enemies. He survived by understanding the difference between the mask and the face. He wrote, "We must lend ourselves to others, but give ourselves to ourselves." Read that again. Lend, not give. Most of you are giving yourselves away. You are giving your core identity to your job title. You are giving your self-worth to your relationship status. You are giving your emotional stability to your political party. So, when you lose the job, you don't just lose a paycheck, you lose you. When the partner leaves, you don't just lose a companion, you lose you. Montaigne teaches us to wear the role like a loose garment. Be the diligent employee, be the loving partner, be the responsible citizen. But know deep down in the back room that this is just a role you are playing. It is not the essence of who you are. This is strategic dissociation. It allows you to operate in high-stress environments without burning out. Imagine an actor playing Hamlet. He screams, he cries, he fights. But when the curtain falls, he wipes off the makeup and goes home to eat dinner. He is not traumatized by Hamlet's pain because he knows he is not Hamlet. You are traumatized by your life because you think you are the character. You think you are the failed entrepreneur. You think you are the divorced man. You think you are the awkward outcast. No, those are just scripts you were handed. The philosophy of Who Cares asks you to look at the script and say, this is an interesting plot twist. instead of saying, "My life is over." When you separate the mask from the face, you become untouchable. Someone insults your mask. "Oh, you don't like the way I played that role. Interesting." It doesn't touch the face. This is how you survive a toxic workplace. This is how you survive a breakup. You realize that they are rejecting the role, the projection, the mask. They cannot reject you because they have never even met the real you. The real you is in the back room reading a book unbothered. Montaigne warns us, the most terrible and violent of our own diseases is to despise our being. When you confuse the mask with the face, you start to hate yourself when the mask gets dirty. Stop it. The mask is replaceable. The soul is not. Keep the mask loose, so loose that you can take it off at any moment and walk away. The power to walk away is the only power that matters, and you can only walk away if you are not attached to the costume. We live in a culture that demands certainty. You must have an opinion on the war. You must have an opinion on the economy. You must have an opinion on the viral video of the day. If you say, "I don't know," you are looked at as weak, ignorant, apathetic. But Montaigne chose a different path. He had a motto engraved on a medal he wore constantly. "Cage, what do I know?" This wasn't an admission of stupidity. It was a declaration of freedom. The person who thinks they know everything is fragile. If you are 100% certain about your worldview, one piece of contradictory evidence shatters your reality. You have to defend your beliefs like a fortress under siege. You are constantly fighting, constantly arguing, constantly stressed. The person who embraces "I don't know" is fluid like water. Is this person hating on me? Maybe. Is the economy going to crash? Maybe. Am I a failure? Who knows? The story isn't over yet. When you release the need for certainty, you release the anxiety that comes with it. You stop trying to predict the future. You stop trying to control the uncontrollable. This is the ultimate who cares. Who cares if I'm right? Who cares if I win the argument? Most people destroy relationships just to be right. They would rather burn a bridge than say I might be wrong. Why? Because their ego is attached to being the one who knows. Montaigne teaches us to be the skeptic, not the cynic who hates everything, but the skeptic who doubts his own arrogance. When you detach from your own opinions, you become incredibly dangerous in a debate. You become dangerous in negotiation. Why? Because you have nothing to defend. You can listen. You can pivot. You can change your mind without feeling shame. While your opponent is red-faced, screaming, defending his ego, you are sitting back, curious, asking questions. You are playing with ideas while he is dying for them. The person who is willing to look foolish is the only one who can actually learn. If you care too much about looking smart, you will stay stupid. You will never ask the dumb question. You will never try the new thing. You will stay in your lane, terrified of the edge. Say it with me. I don't know. Feel how light that is. I don't know what comes next. I don't know if this will work. I don't know if they like me. Good. Now you are free to find out. Now you are free to experiment. The weight of omniscience is off your shoulders. You are just a human stumbling through the dark. And for the first time you are okay with the darkness. You are terrified of being alone. Admit it. When you are alone, you reach for the phone, you put on a podcast, you turn on the TV. You need noise. You need distraction. Why? Because when the noise stops, the thoughts start. And you are afraid of your own thoughts. You are afraid of the emptiness. Blaise Pascal, another French philosopher who read Montaigne, said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Montaigne knew that if you cannot be alone, you cannot be free. If you cannot be alone, you are dependent. You are dependent on others for your entertainment, for your validation, for your sense of self. If everyone left you tomorrow, would you collapse or would you simply go into your back room? Montaigne's practice of solitude was not about hiding. It was about strengthening. He wrote about the need to have a soul that can keep itself company. This is the ultimate litmus test for the philosophy of who cares. Can you sit on a chair for 30 minutes with no phone, no book, no music, and just be? Can you face the boredom? Boredom is the gatekeeper to the sublime. We live in an age of dopamine addiction. We care too much about being entertained. We treat boredom like a disease. But it is in the boredom, in the silence, that the mask falls off. It is in the silence that you hear the truth about your life. Maybe that's why you run from it, because the truth is painful. The truth is that you are in the wrong job. The truth is that your relationship is dead. The truth is that you are wasting your potential, so you scroll. You care about the drama on Twitter, so you don't have to care about the rot in your own soul. The outlier stops running. He sits in the silence. He lets the pain rise. He looks at it. Who cares if it hurts? He asks. Pain is just information. He sits there until the boredom transforms into clarity. When you learn to love your own company, you become selective. You no longer hang out with low-value people just to avoid being alone. You no longer tolerate disrespect just to have someone to talk to. You become expensive. People sense this. They sense that you don't need them. You choose them. And there is a massive difference. To be chosen by a man who needs nothing is the highest compliment. To be needed by a man who cannot be alone is a burden. Build your capacity for solitude. It is the fuel for your indifference. The more you enjoy your own mind, the less you care about what others think of it. You become a self-sustaining ecosystem. And in a world of parasites, the self-sustaining organism is the king. We have reached the root, the dark soil from which all your anxiety grows. Why do you care so much? Why do you care if you are embarrassed? Why do you care if you lose your money? Why do you care if you are alone? Because deep down your biological machinery equates social rejection and loss of resources with death. You are an animal terrified of its own expiration date. Montaigne was obsessed with death. For years, he lived in terror of it. He slept with a lantern burning because the dark reminded him of the void. He was surrounded by the plague. He lost his best friend, his father, his brother, and 5 of his children. Death was not a concept, it was a roommate. But then something shifted. He realized that his fear of death was actually a fear of life. He wrote, "To philosophize is to learn to die." This sounds morbid. It is not. It is the most life-affirming sentence ever written. If you are afraid of the end, you will clutch at the middle. You will be tight. You will be rigid. You will be safe. You will care about safety more than you care about experience. But if you accept that the end is inevitable, if you accept that you are a temporary biological event, a brief spark between 2 eternal darknesses, then the pressure dissolves. Who cares if you start a business and fail? You'll be dead in 50 years anyway. Who cares if you approach that person and get rejected? Their opinion will rot in the ground just like your embarrassment. Who cares if you don't fit in? The crowd is marching toward a cliff. Why march in step with them? Montaigne didn't just think about this. He experienced it. One day he was riding a horse. A collision occurred. He was thrown violently. He was knocked unconscious. He was bleeding from his mouth. His servants thought he was dead. When he woke up, he didn't feel terror. He didn't feel pain. He wrote that he felt a sweetness like slipping into a warm bath. He felt himself letting go of life with a gentle ease. He realized that dying was not the hard part. The fear of dying was the hard part. The anticipation was the torture. The event itself was natural. This is the lesson for your daily life. The anticipation of the difficult conversation is worse than the conversation. The fear of the judgment is worse than the judgment. The anxiety you feel is a ghost. It is a projection of a future that hasn't happened. When you practice memento mori, when you look at your hand and realize it will one day be dust, you stop sweating the small stuff. And everything, absolutely everything that worries you right now is small stuff. Your reputation, small stuff. Your bank account, small stuff. Your awkward moment at the party, microscopic stuff. The person who has befriended their own mortality is invincible. You cannot threaten a man who has already accepted the worst-case scenario. You cannot manipulate a man who knows his time is short. He becomes ruthless with his time. He cuts out the fluff. He says no to the obligations he hates. He stops trying to please people he will never see again. He lives with a terrifying urgency. Not the frantic urgency of the rat race, the calm urgency of the sunset. He watches the sun go down and thinks, "This is beautiful and it is leaving, and so am I." And in that realization, he finds peace. Most of you are fighting life. You are swimming upstream. You are trying to force outcomes. You are trying to make people love you. You are trying to bend reality to your will. You are exhausted because you are rigid. Montaigne discovered a different kind of power, the power of softness. He wrote about yielding to the nature of things. When he fell from that horse, he didn't tense up. If he had tensed up, he might have broken every bone in his body. He went limp. He yielded to the fall and he survived. There is a Taoist concept called Wu, effortless action. Montaigne arrived at the same conclusion in his tower. When you are rigid, you break. When you are soft, you absorb. This is the ultimate who cares regarding control. Who cares if things don't go exactly according to my plan? The control freak says, "It must happen this way or I am a failure." The Montaignian philosopher says, "I will do my work and then I will let the chips fall." He trusts the chaos. Think about how much energy you waste trying to control other people's perceptions of you. You craft the perfect email. You rehearse the perfect sentence. You wear the perfect outfit and they still misunderstand you. They still judge you through their own lens. You cannot control the wind. You can only adjust your sails. Stop trying to control the wind. Montaigne admitted he had a terrible memory. He admitted he was lazy sometimes. He admitted he wasn't a great scholar. He didn't try to hide his flaws. He yielded to them. He wrote about them openly, and by doing so he disarmed his critics. If you say, "I am an idiot," sometimes no one can insult you by calling you an idiot. You have already owned it. You have yielded to the truth. This is the judo of the soul. When the world pushes you, don't push back. Pull, step aside. Let the world's momentum carry it past you. Your boss screams at you. Don't scream back. Don't defend. Just look at him. Yield to his anger. Let him exhaust himself. His anger is his problem. It is not yours. By refusing to engage in the fight, you win the fight. This requires a deep, profound lack of ego. You have to be willing to lose the argument to win the peace. You have to be willing to look weak to be truly strong. The oak tree stands rigid against the storm and snaps. The bamboo bends to the ground and snaps back up when the wind passes. Be the bamboo. Care less about winning and more about surviving intact. Your mental health is more important than your ego's victory. Who cares if I looked weak? Who cares if they think they won? You are in the back room sipping wine, reading a book while they are out in the storm, shouting at the wind. We worship power. We worship status. You look at the CEO, the politician, the influencer with millions of followers, and you feel small. You feel like they possess something you don't. You feel their judgment weighs more than yours. Montaigne had a hammer for this idol worship. He wrote one of the most savage sentences in the history of philosophy. Sit we upon the highest throne in the world, yet sit we only upon our own ass. Read that again. Visualize it. The king sits on a golden throne. He holds a scepter. Armies move at his command. But physically, biologically, he is just a mammal sitting on his buttocks. He gets hemorrhoids. He gets diarrhea. He has bad breath in the morning. He is insecure about his hairline. He fights with his wife. Montaigne wanted to strip away the majesty. He wanted you to see the human behind the title. Why do you care what the director of operations thinks of you? He is just a guy sitting on his ass. Why do you care what the internet celebrity thinks? She is just a girl sitting on her ass, staring at a screen, desperate for dopamine. When you realize that everyone, absolutely everyone, is just a confused, fragile human being trying to figure it out, the hierarchy collapses. You stop being intimidated. Intimidation comes from mystification. You are mystified by their success. You think they are a different species. They are not. They are you with different luck and different masks. Montaigne served as the mayor of Bordeaux. He was a powerful politician, but he refused to take the job seriously. He did the work, but he didn't become the mayor. He said, "The mayor and Montaigne have always been two by a very manifest separation." He sat on the mayoral throne, but he knew he was sitting on his own ass. This is the cure for imposter syndrome. You feel like a fraud because you think everyone else is the real deal. Montaigne tells you everyone is a fraud. Everyone is acting. Everyone is winging it. The CEO is winging it. The president is winging it. Your parents were winging it. So why are you so hard on yourself? Why do you care if you don't belong? Nobody belongs. We are all just tourists on this planet wandering around, bumping into each other. When you walk into a high-stakes meeting, visualize everyone sitting on the toilet. It's crude, it's vulgar, but it is true, and it will instantly kill your anxiety. You will see them not as gods, but as peers, and you will speak the truth to them because you no longer fear their divine judgment. There is no divine judgment. There is only the opinion of another mammal sitting on its ass. We are told that to matter, we must be extraordinary. We must change the world. We must leave a legacy. We must be on the cover of the magazine. And if we are just normal, then we have failed. This is the toxic engine of modern capitalism. It runs on your insecurity. It runs on your fear of being average. Montaigne, after achieving everything, decided that the greatest achievement was to live an ordinary life well. He wrote about eating. He wrote about playing with his cat. He wrote about the simple pleasure of scratching an itch. He said, storming a breach, conducting an embassy, ruling a nation are glittering deeds. Rebuking, laughing, buying, selling, loving, hating, and living together gently and justly with your household and with yourself is something more difficult. It is easy to be a hero for 10 minutes. It is hard to be a decent human being for 50 years. It is hard to appreciate the melon you are eating while you are eating it, instead of thinking about the empire you haven't built yet. The philosophy of who cares ends here. Who cares if you are not a billionaire? Who cares if you are not famous? Who cares if history forgets your name? Montaigne teaches us that the texture of life is in the small moments. The extraordinary is often a cage. The celebrity cannot walk down the street. The billionaire cannot trust his friends. The ordinary man is free. He can enjoy the sun. He can enjoy his coffee. He can read his book in his back room without the world watching. This is the ultimate rebellion, to look at a world that demands you be special and say, no thanks. I prefer to be happy. To accept your mediocrity is to transcend it. When you stop trying to be a god, you finally get to be a human. And being a human is a miracle. You have senses. You have a mind. You have this moment. Why poison it with the desperate need for more? More is the enemy of enough. And enough is a feast. Munch found his feast in a tower with a few books and a view of his garden. He didn't change the course of history. He didn't conquer nations. He just wrote about what it felt like to be him. And by doing so, he reached across 400 years to save us. He saved us from the lie that we need to be anything other than what we are. So where does this leave us? It leaves us in the back room. You build the fortress. You pull up the drawbridge. Inside you cultivate your garden. You read your books. You love your family. You do your work with excellence, but without attachment. Outside, the world screams. The markets crash, the politicians lie, the influencers posture, the neighbors gossip. You hear it, but you do not let it in. You have mastered the art of who cares. You care about your integrity. You care about your peace. You care about the few people who actually know the face behind the mask. But the rest, the opinions, the expectations, the noise, it is just wind against stone. You are the stone. You have realized that you are dying. And because you are dying, you have no time for fuck. You have realized that you are sitting on your own ass just like the king. And because of that, you have no fear of power. You have realized that you don't know anything for certain. And because of that, you have no anxiety about being wrong. You are free. You are the outlier. You are the ghost in the machine. You operate within society, but you are not of society. They cannot control you because they have nothing to offer you that you don't already have. They offer validation. You have it from yourself. They offer status. You know it's a joke. They offer belonging. You belong to yourself. Walk out of this video and look at the world. Look at the frantic faces. Look at the people performing for invisible audiences. Don't judge them. Just shrug. Go back to your shop. Serve the customers. Smile. but keep the key to the back room in your pocket and never ever let them in. If this opened your eyes, understand this is only what I can show publicly. There are videos I cannot upload for everyone. There are aspects of dark psychology that I simply cannot discuss publicly on YouTube without being censored or demonetized. The algorithm suppresses the most powerful information. Those exist behind the join button. If you're still here, you're not like the others. Subscribe if you haven't. But if you want what's hidden, click the join button and step into the architect level. You will unlock exclusive, uncensored videos that dive into the deepest parts of the human psyche. Most won't. That's the point.